And here we are on Cloud Kingdom, and down in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have our blue Protoss player from Complexity, their second player. It is Minigun. And his opponent here in the top right-hand corner, our red Zerg player from Acer, Paranoid.
All right, so it looks like the Acer players are confident that Paranoid will just win without them watching, so that's, you know, they just leave the game and don't really care what happens. They'll say, you know, let us know if you win or lose, and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, no chatting this time.
Yep, so they're just going to go out for ice cream
Good.
and come back whenever the game's over to play game number 3. But Paranoid, with that a long game against a Terran, now has to play against a very, very good Protoss player, one of the best Protoss players in North America, in Chad Minigun Jones.
Okay, so Probu getting a nice early scout, as well, Protoss players kind of have to do against Zerg players. And you know, Cloud Kingdom is kind of an interesting choice. We know Minigun does love aggressive play from time to time, stuff that does revolve around control and just getting out there and being super annoying. So I would not be surprised to see some sort of a big 2 base 3 immortal push. If this game stabilizes, though, you can get some very, 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 very long PVZs on this map, some stretching up close to the hour mark.
Yep, Minigun actually not known a lot for doing anything super crazy. He's just very solid, and you know, makes those standard builds just that much more powerful. From good unit control, micromanagement of his units is one of his best fortes, and you know, you tend to see the big Colossus death balls out of him, but he's very, very good at controlling them, keeping them alive, and making them go as far as is possible. Okay,
well, it looks like Mini is going to go for Nexus first, make it a little bit harder on him to pylon block, but already looks like a third drone was sent out. Not needed, though, for Paranoid, as he does get down the natural, no problem at all.
Okay, and with the Forge down now for Minigun, he can be able to defend himself if Paranoid does show up with a ton of lings anytime soon. Scouting around now for pylons is always due diligence for Zerg players, as cannon rushes can really make your day kind of uncomfortable. Minigun has actually done some cannon rushes before in his day, but haven't seen it out of him for a while. I actually haven't seen him play in quite a while, I feel like.
Yeah, minus the, you were talking about the Reddit post today about his immortal drops. That was actually the first time I've seen him play in a little while, so. But, you know, Complexity has a chance here to move forward into the next round. As we mentioned before, for those of you who may just be joining us, this is pretty much everything on the line for these two teams. The winner of this match moves up into the up and down, so the loser drops into the amateur division where they have to re-qualify next season, and that can be quite a tough task. We've seen some very good teams already move through there.
Yep, just like coD qualifiers for GSL, our amateur division qualifiers basically put every team out there in a sort of single elimination bracket for these best-of-9 matches. So, you know, if you have a rough day, you could hit quite a lot of good teams on the way up, and a series of best-of-1 games can really go either way in a lot of situations. So you really, really want to hang on to your position in Contender Division as long as you can, whether you you know, bounce into Premier or not. It's nice to actually be situated and not have to worry about going through that gauntlet of all the other teams each season. So Complexity putting in Minigun, they have enough trust in him before having to resort to Hart or Gonzi to try and get the job done. They're trying out Trimaster Minigun first, see how far they can get. If they can snag a few kills, that's great. If they can't, then they do still have those very strong coD caliber players waiting in the wings.
Yep, so nothing's looking too out of the ordinary for both of our players yet. Important to note, no +1 being researched quite yet for Minigun. He is going ahead with his warp gate research. No super early 3rd and 4th gas, but he still does have a bit built up. There's +1 on the way now.
All right, and Minigun, you know, very powerful with gateway units and Immortals and Colossi, so I would expect him to just build that normal stuff. We'll see. His blink control is actually very good as well. His micro, again, is one of his strong suits. Do you mind checking APM? I'm curious to see if Minigun's able to keep up with Paranoid, who we've seen earlier on was up over 200 average and is again. But Minigun, I mean, Protoss players can get away with a lot less APM just because there's a lot less sort of macro that they have to do in this early game. Once the armies start fighting, though, you'll see that current spike way, way up.
Well, the Robotics Facility and Twilight Council are now on the way for Minigun in addition to investing into those sentries. So, see what his plan is going to be from here on out. Already a forward pylon being put down. Paranoid has not spotted this quite yet. Minigun's done a good job of baiting out quite a few units from his opponent, too.
Yep, and all those units that are coming out for Paranoid are not drones, so here comes another round of 8 for Paranoid to try and catch up on that regard. 10 more, actually 11 more drones in production now, and the Rotorn is about halfway done. Minigun still has not revealed a whole lot. The Cybernetics Core just getting Warp Gate tech finished now.
Yeah, no Overlords have been sacrificed to try and see what's going on. 4 gateways in total are going to be out, and we'll see where this Twilight Council leads us to, if it's going to be a quick +2 weapons, or if you're going to have something a little bit different in mind. Layer Tech, Evolution Chamber, Rotorn is already done for Paranoid, but everything's looking pretty darn normal at the moment. It'll be on a total of 4 gas, and should be able to move up to pretty quick Infestors too, and bypass the aggressive roach stage and just sit on a few defensive units if he needs them.
Okay, so because Blink has not been researched yet, I think that basically rules it out. The Immortal about to finish as well instead of an Observer makes me think that Blink is not going to be the route. +2 weapons could be researched here very soon, and then, yeah, there it is. So we do have a heavy gateway composition coming out for Minigun to try and do that +2 attack timing against Zerg. They actually have a really rough time defending. We'll see if Paranoid's going to be able to do it, as Minigun will be pushing out probably pretty soon to drop some forward pylons and get in position.
Roach speed is on the way, and Minigun starting 2 more gateways. They'll put him up to a total of 6. Not sure where those gateways are actually being. He's full walling in. Don't know why my cursor just suddenly jumped there. My apologies. And the 3rd base is coming up, so Minigun, of course, going to defend this base on a lot of sentries and Immortals. Play very standard, very macro, and make sure that he's prepared for the absolute late game. Yeah,
it can be tough for Protoss to defend that 3rd base. They need sentries positioned at the natural and the 3rd. He is doing that full wall off at the natural, though, to try and, you know, keep that side covered at least long enough to get some sentries over there if they happen to be at the 3rd. Looks like Paranoid is clearing out destructible rocks and debris wherever he can to open up that path. And another Evolution Chamber coming up for Paranoid is going to allow him to do both upgrades at once. Got 2 more hatcheries being added on. One is a 3rd base and one is a, 4th base, and one is a macro hatchback in his main.
That's right, but Minigun's about 75% of the way done with his own Nexus here, so about 70% it was. With photon cannons up and all of his units in place, this should actually remain pretty safe for the time being. Paranoid is indeed powering ahead with his Infestation Pit and moving up into top-tier tech, so both these guys kind of playing a no-rush 15 style here.
Yep, and Minigun does have Blink actually coming now. He'll probably research Charge right after that, because you have the Twilight Council finished. There's no reason not to get these amazing upgrades. Robotics Bay is coming up for Minigun, so he can start working on Colossi. He is just basically building all of his stuff up, keeping it intact. He's fine with waiting around because he knows that he's confident in his defense, so he'll just stick it out as long as he needs to. He's not really worried about anything. There's a Warp Prism coming up for Minigun, so he can actually get some damage in that way rather than having to leave his base with his entire force.
And Paranoid decided to produce 6 Infestors before researching Pathogen Glands, so these Infestors will actually have to accumulate energy for a while before they have fungal growth available to them. He's also bypassing the Hive Tech. He's at least has to wait for this burrow to finish up here in a few seconds, but he did delay it for a little while. There's his Spire, though, and he is going to have basically just enough in a second here for Hive if he wants to jump directly into that.
Well, Minigun's getting +3 already, chrono boosted out, and the first Colossus is on its way, so he is gearing up for something big. Is this an Observer floating around, or is it the Warp Prism already? Okay,
that's the Warp Prism.
The Warp Prism on the left side, just an Observer inside of Paranoid's base. Minigun actually warping in way off to the left, probably just going to scoop those up inside, yeah, so that he can have some units already instantly prepared. That is one thing that's changed, you know, since the beginning of the beta, when players would just start warping in whenever they got there, but having those first 4 Zealots already prepared saves you that warp in time, and they can get some instant damage in while you protect anything that you're warping in. So that's just a nice technique to do when you're dropping as Protoss. Get some units prepared before moving in, save yourself some time.
And Minigun just did about 125 resources worth of damage, and we'll see if we get his... You know, we mentioned Hero as a player who likes to use Warp Prisms and multitask and harass. Well, Minigun's another guy like that. That's kind of what I was referring to with his aggression before, so We'll see if he, is able to move into that here in a bit. First Colossus is out, Range is on the way. He's moving up to Stargate so he can eventually put on a Fleet Beacon and then Mothership. Yeah, but this is almost literally a no-rush 15. There's really been no big movements, no mid-game attacks, just everyone saying, all right, let's build up and let's see what our armies have.
And this is the sort of build that I know Minigun for. Lots of gateway units up into Colossus and then just microing the crap out of them. Mothership certainly helps in that regard, so I'm actually kind of surprised Paranoid didn't try to pressure him more. Perhaps, they don't play often enough where Paranoid realizes Minigun's sort of style, but we'll see as we progress forward. Minigun is actually moving toward Paranoid's base. There's a lot of lings here, but those gateways are going to be so great to be able to defend. He just has to warp in some sentries, drop some force fields, and he can delay this for quite a long time. They will have to bounce over toward that third where Minigun's already retreated back with his force.
So Minigun now establishing the, or about ready to finish up the fourth, I should say. Paranoid's been stuck on 4 bases because Minigun's Warp Prism harassment has continued to be very effective. +2 Carapace is being researched for Paranoid at the moment, but he's about ready to finish up Greater Spire. We already have a Mothership on the way, so once again, very passive play. Everyone just sitting back and waiting to see what's going to happen. Spinecrawler Forest is already pretty well established, I have to say, for Paranoid. He's got enough down that he'll be able to significantly delay Minigun for a while.
And that Warp Prism is still standing. There's another one in production now. It is finally going to get taken out, so Paranoid can be at ease for just a little while. But Minigun is pressing into the very bottom side of Paranoid's holdings here on Cloud Kingdom. He's going to very quickly force the cancel there and run back home to be able to defend against all of these roaches and lings coming in. They are going to destroy the destructible rocks. Minigun does not want to use the force fields until that's down. He can try and sequester them. Yeah, he does. Gets a bunch of lings inside the base. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't have a lot to deal with this at the moment. I don't believe he has any cannons back in the main. Whoa, the lings! Bad miscontrol there from Paranoid, having them bounce back. We got some Zealots, enough time to get them warped in. Not many probes here to kill anyway, so Minigun defends that pretty handily.
Yes, he does. And, of course, that lost supply is being filled up by a bunch of 2 mortal drops actually coming in now. All of those are being filled up by high-tech units now, as we have a bunch of Broodlords down. Unfortunately, all of this is going to die, including the Warp Prism, so the Immortal drop didn't really get anything done. Maybe it bought time for Minigun to move through the middle of the map. Mothership is just finishing up, though.
Okay, so the Mothership has arrived. It's going to go ahead and float toward that main army. Minigun figures why attack in without it when I can just wait a few seconds, get everything gathered up, and be ready to go. That Mothership will have enough for a Vortex relatively soon. There's a Warp Prism just kind of out in the middle of no man's land. Unfortunately for Minigun, he's going to lose that without a contest. Minigun does still have that Xel'Naga Tower on the right side, so he has some vision. He'll know if Paranoid is going to come through that route, and he can just be prepared for him to come through the left. He's got those sentries still positioned at his natural to be able to defend against that. More gateways being added on. 10 more gateways.
11, 12, 13, 14.
Makes sense with his
when
bank.
They're all done. Yes.
Yeah, with the bank he has, he knows I can afford to build 10 plus gateways and still have enough minerals and gas to be able to produce out of all of them, at least during his main attack. There's another drop going on. I don't know how many Warp Prisms he keeps managing to sneak in here past all these Corruptors and Infestors, but again, not super efficient for him. He's using it primarily for positioning so that he can get these slower, more expensive units in position to start doing some real damage. The Mothership might just be saving up for mass recall.
Could very well be. Our first Templar are just now warping in, so Archons will be a threat. Minigun will need them whenever he eventually, I would assume, plans to use Vortex later on. Another Warp Prism drop is coming in, as he will just not let off. He loses a Colossus in the middle of the map. He wants Paranoid to fall back. He wants Paranoid to play a bit more defensively here. And Minigun now reproducing these Zealots, this lost supply with more and more high-tech units.
Yeah, Paranoid is showing a lot of patience, not just in this game, but in the first one against Trimaster as well. And he's hanging on. He's, dealing with these drops.
Queens.
For the most part. Yeah, he's down to only 2 queens, unfortunately for him. Another Warp Prism coming in for Minigun. Can't stop, won't stop with that harassment, just leaving all the Corruptors to chase after those while the Colossi walk around sort of unmolested by those. Psionic Storm is going to finish here. Another Fleet Beacon being made for Minigun.
Did he lose? No.
Did he forget he had a Mothership?
No, I mean, obviously that's a backup, but I don't know why or where that's being produced.
I have no idea.
Huh.
That's really bizarre. Okay. It's a bait fleet beacon?
Like, I think it may be. He wants once Paranoid sees it, the focus of his attacks to go there in a choke point where he knows that he can take advantage of the position.
I have no idea. We'll have to ask him about that at some point. All these sentries getting caught. No force fields coming out from them.
Yeah.
So much gas just evaporated into thin air there.
Very rarely you see people intentionally free up supply by sacrificing sentries, but it just happened there.
Ouch. So Minigun, you know, he's using that cap space to make a lot of Archons. He's got Blink on his Stalkers. He's got several Templar there with Psionic Storm equipped. So it's possible that Paranoid will see these Archons very quickly. Oh, feedback's being dropped on the Infestors. He probably just used the mini-map trick there to target down those Infestors very quickly with feedback, because I didn't even see them underneath that Broodlord cover. Very good stuff there from Minigun. And if you don't know what I mean, if you click feedback and then click the map approximately where those spellcasting units are, it will still cast. So that's why you don't even need to have them selected or be able to see them to be able to drop feedbacks like that.
All right, who will win the cannon? Barely.
29 Banelings just got finished.
Wow. All right, and a Dark Shrine is on the way. So Minigun's going up to his 5th base. 5 bases already established for Paranoid. He's not actually taking gas off of those, which is a little surprising. He's got 8,500, 2,500 banks. So there are so many resources available for our players.
It's over 10K resources just sitting there, not being spent by Paranoid because he's at the cap. And I was, complimenting his patience earlier, but there's a limit to that sort of patience. I think the 10K mineral bank is probably past that threshold somewhere. Lots of Banelings rolling in now. Minigun is going to come respond to this rather than forcing a trade situation. He wants to kill this very, very valuable army of Paranoid. He thinks he's got the Archons and the Mothership ability to be able to do it.
Well, he's lost a few workers there, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to be that big of a deal. I mean, he still does have 3 pretty efficient mining bases, and he can reproduce that lost supply with, well, more Stalkers.
Yep, as the Dark Shrine gets finished, he could, warp those in and get him under the Mothership as well. Have that double cloak, which doesn't actually do anything beneficial for you. It just is double the cloak. Another Nexus did just finish. Is that the one in the bottom right? That must have just got established. There it is. Paranoid running back into this 4th base, though. He's got a bunch of Banelings. Doesn't want to spend them on just a Nexus. He wants to save them for some units of Minigun if he can. Fungal goes down, trapping those Stalkers in the Broodlord fire, but it looks like Minigun is fine with that. He's going to progress forward. These Broodlords are so slow. The Archons are actually going to catch up to them and rip them apart pretty quickly. For how fast Minigun got to +3 attacks, he just really has not had a lot of opportunity to use it. His units are fully upgraded. We got a lot of Banelings still selected there, ready to go at a moment's notice if some good Fungals drop. Good Vortex. Actually, all the Banelings, a lot of Banelings rolling into that Vortex. Some of them crashing into the Archon. Double Vortex there, and Minigun has an opportunity to drop some Archons in, but I don't think he wants to do it instead. There he goes. He's actually getting those Stalkers out of the way. 1 Archon into each Vortex. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but either way, with Psionic Storm on his side, he's able to thin out absolutely everything and destroy it. So this is, a lot of people are critical of PvZ matchup because of what just happened there with those Vortexes being such a major factor at the end game PvZ. Some players just really are sick of it, but Minigun definitely going to use it to his advantage while he can. He's going to come through the Spinecrawler for us now to get under those Broodlords and eventually whittle Paranoid down. His
opponent's bank is still quite impressive. There are still 5,100 minerals, but Minigun, he's losing some supply back here as a lot of workers are going down, but he should be able to warp in up at the front. I don't know why he's not warping in anything. There we go. Finally, some more units are coming up as he just needs to get any bodies on the ground with which to continue doing damage.
He's dotting all those Zealot warp-ins at that base, and now that the Lings are here, there's not a whole lot to attack that's out of range of those cannons, so he's going to try and kill all of those off. Those 6 Zealots and Stalker are working their way up through the middle of the map now. He does still have quite a lot of cap space and bank, so still probably needs to stay on top of those warp-ins. Storms dropping all over those Zerglings, running in toward this, and the Mothership is finally taken out. That's a lot of Stalkers being revealed right there that can do some sick damage to the Broodlords with their Blink ability.
And Blink cooldown is finished, so Minigun could make his way up there, but it looks like he's going to pull back for the moment. He is up in supply. He is back in workers, which means his army is significantly stronger than his opponent.
Okay, so another spawning pool just happened to be there. The Ultros Cavern going to get taken out as well. Spire is going to prevent all those Corruptors from being remade. A Mothership is coming back now for Minigun. These Stalkers are going to be very, very useful for him. Here we go with a couple of Ultralisks. They do have Blink again. They can just focus down these Ultras, blink back a few few at a time. There they go. And the Ultras are quite low on health, but didn't actually get taken out.
Well, this Immortal racking up kills certainly provided utility the entire game, and Minigun really does have pretty good control of this at the moment. And he can continue warping in units here. Paranoid does have a pretty strong army, but he needs to get more units out there, and he needs to get more gas income, more importantly than anything else. This base has been sitting up here relatively untouched the entire time, and he could have mined so much gas off of it, but now has no ability to make that worth it.
That's right. With the Zealots running in, trying to finish this hatchery off, it looks like they should be able to get it. Those Ultralists are going to be the deciding factor, leaving the hatchery selected. You see that it does fall, so nice pick up there for Minigun with just a few Zealots as investment. He's going to save his bottom right base despite all the cannons being destroyed, and have to figure out where to go from there. But 3 more Broodlords coming for Paranoid. He's going to stick to that rather than more Ultralisks. Ultralisks don't do great against those Blinkstalkers, but neither do Broodlords unless you've got the Infestor support.
Nope. So let's see here, as Paranoid is basically out of these bases, correct? How much gas does he even have left? Basically none. So that could be an issue. That spawning pool, of course, out to the front before was just in case, because Minigun liked his warp in so much that this one would be taken out. He built an alternate. Paranoid morphing in 23 Banelings and needs to get some damage done very quickly to his opponent's army.
We'll see if that was the wisest choice to dump all of your gas into. We got DTs actually coming in for Minigun somewhere on Earth, but probably just mixing into that army. No, there he's on his own secret mission here, trying to take out a base on his own. There are Overseers right there with the main army, so unfortunately he does not get any work done. The mothership is here. I think it should have enough energy. No, it actually doesn't yet. It's going to be a little while still before it's able to drop another Vortex, so Minigun may just want to play it safe and back off for the time being until that's available.
Paranoid has 11 Broodlords, 23 Banelings, 4 Infestors, and 56 Lings to back this up, but there's a lot of splash damage still on the map for Minigun, and he is still dealing with these little run-bys pretty effectively. He needs to start warping in some units. There we go. And a couple of Zealots should be able to clear that up.
Okay, both players still posturing. It looks like Paranoid wants to come in for another attack, try and finish off this Nexus, but actually he's having a tough time just getting through those Zealots. If Minigun just warps in a few more Zealots, he'll probably be able to defend this fine. He has about 500 minerals available, about 700 minerals available. He just canceled something, more weapons, I suppose.
I just saw blue just appear on the map. I was like, oh god, what was that? And it was just a million changelings. And Paranoid is a bit exposed. A Vortex takes in all the units up at the front. All these units are on hold position, and the Archon just walked up and splash damaged a ton of Banelings, and well, just essentially destroyed them.
All right, we'll see the Archon toilet pop out any second with 4 or 5 Archons in there. It's going to finish off those Broodlords extremely quickly. Psystorm being dropped on absolutely everything, including the Archons, but they are going to survive, and it looks like Minigun may actually push Paranoid back into a position he might not be able to fight his way back from.
Oh, those storms did so much damage to those Zerglings up at the front. I want to find our hero High Templar. Yeah, 23 kills. Well done, sir.
Very nice, and more storms available for these Lings. They are going to actually damage his own units, but there's the GG from Paranoid, and Minigun takes game number 2 in another just extraordinarily long game.
That's right, 2 games, a total of 75 in-game minutes so far. We're averaging 37.5 minutes a game, so I hope you have the rest of your weekend booked, because we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, you hope they don't have their weekend booked, because we're going to be here for a while.
I hope you've booked your weekend with us.
And I hope this series ends before tomorrow's match, Karante versus NSOSO, because you know, that one has some implications as well. It's not all about you, Complexity and Acer, but Paranoid, now that he's out, maybe games will speed up. Who knows?
Possibly.
If he was just the stalwart defender and just wanted to just hang around and be in the games and be on the spotlight as long as possible, I don't know.
Well, coming up next for Acer is going to be a Zerg player.
I'm confused by that.
Yeah, it's going to be Bly. So Bly's making his way in. We're going to run to a commercial break while you're away, because it's been, even though it's 2 games, it's been like an hour and, well, maybe
6
12
days.
hours since we've actually told you about this. But our friends at TT Esports are giving away this Knucker keyboard. So if you want to try and win this, you need to head over to tinyurl.com/IPLTTesports4. That is the number 4, tinyurl.com/IPLTTesports4. And we certainly wish you the best of luck. For now, we're going to run to a commercial break, and we'll be back for game number 3.